CDC issues a travel advisory for the New York region, after Trump backs off his quarantine threat. President Trump said on Saturday night that he would not impose a quarantine on New York, New Jersey and Connecticut but would instead issue a strong travel advisory to be implemented by the governors of the three states. Mr. Trump made the announcement on Twitter just hours after telling reporters that he was considering a quarantine of the three states in an effort to limit the spread of the coronavirus to Florida and other states. Later Saturday night, the CDC issued a formal advisory urging the residents of the three states to refrain from non-essential domestic travel for 14 days effective immediately. The advisory, which was posted to the agency's website and its Twitter account, does not apply to employees of critical infrastructure industries, the agency said. That includes trucking, public health professionals, financial services and food supply workers. Mr. Trump, when he said he was considering a quarantine for the region, offered no details about how his administration would enforce it. Speaking to CNN, Gov. Andrew Cuomo of New York criticized the idea, calling it a declaration of war on states. He also questioned the logistical challenges, as well as the message that such an order would present. If you start walling off areas all across the country, it would just be totally bizarre, counterproductive, anti-American, antisocial, he said. Mr. Trump's public airing of his deliberations came one day after he signed a $2 trillion economic stimulus package and as cases in the tri-state area continue to climb. The specter of a federal quarantine followed a wave of governors who, fearful about the virus spreading further through their states, ordered people who had traveled from New York to isolate themselves for 2 weeks after their arrivals. Gov. Gina Raimondo of Rhode Island said Friday that state troopers would begin stopping drivers with New York license plates so that National Guard officials could collect contact information and inform people coming from the state that they were subject to a mandatory 14-day quarantine. Texas, Florida, Maryland and South Carolina are among the other states that have ordered people arriving from New York to self-quarantine. In Texas, the authorities said on Friday that Department of Public Safety agents would make surprise visits to see whether travelers were adhering to the state's mandate, and they warned that violators could be fined $1,000 and jailed for 180 days. Mr. Lamont, the Connecticut governor, last week urged all travelers from New York City to self-quarantine for 2 weeks upon entering the state, but he stopped short of issuing an order requiring it.